Welcome to Tiffdoesloans Podcast. So today I have Ahmad Azad with Phoenix RE Capital. How are you?
Doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, Ahmad is absolutely amazing. He hosts, and we'll get into it further, but he hosts the Newport Real Estate Meetup. And you've been hosting that for now probably 6 years.
Yeah, 6-7 years now. Yeah.
I feel like I came in at like 5 years, but I've been going to that over a year and just like have met. It's amazing how many people come out and network and get together at your event. So we'll kind of touch base on that later. But absolutely incredible. I've met great contacts from there, including you as well. So why don't you just get started by telling us like how you got into real estate and then how you created the Phoenix RE Capital. And now you guys are just crushing it. They do developments, fix and flips, and fix and holds in several states.
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I wish it was like a short-term type story.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it took about 15 years to get to this point.
Yep.
I was like one of the lucky ones. I started a lot younger, so I started right out of high school. And someone that was a blessing was able to bring me in. And again, I learned under his wing and was able to like develop up in this point. And Phoenix at this point is essentially like the third incarnation of the third company that
stuck
building up and had to restart and then so this is basically the third, which is why
third time's a charm. There you go.
Hence why Phoenix.
Yeah. That's
So,
amazing.
yeah.
What do you think made Phoenix stick? Like, what were the other two? Were you trying to focus maybe on like one? Was it like just a brokerage or?
Yeah. So initially it was the first company essentially was the one I was like working with my first introduction to real estate, which was the entire group. And when you're a child, when you're 18 to 22 years old, everything you kind of go 100 miles an hour. So it didn't work out in a direction because that exactly what you're talking about. I wanted to focus a little bit more on the investment side. We had a lot of like the leadership in the company wanted to focus more on brokerages. So it was kind of like it was about time where I had to step out and then go on my own. So the second, and then when you're out on your own and with open water, you kind of have to.
You have to swim,
sink or swim. Yeah, so
figure it out or you're drowning.
And that's exactly what. So I had.
But you had a mentor the whole time, right?
Within those 4 years, those 4 years were the most impressionable that I learned the most in, and a lot of those found like fundamental. I still to this day, I'm kind of like this is what I teach a lot, like my kids do, like all my the interns, everyone that's in the office, the same thing. So it was that, and then went out on my own first time, made every mistake you can possibly make on that first kind of run on doing it on your own, and then after everything that panned out from that, then started Phoenix in 2016.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I love that you said that, because ultimately if you want to be like, and that's where I'm starting to realize the best business owners are, like you said, like, hey, this actually took, like, yes, we're crushing it, but really it took 15 years, not only to develop the right brand, but to develop you. And, like you've had to go through a bunch of trials. So and we're seeing that now. And if you just like stick it out, especially in these markets.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like you are not going to just come in and make instant money. Like you have got to have that mindset.
It's crazy. I mean, like a lot of people really just said it was at the time where this was about 2008, 2009.
Okay.
Right.
So money was coming in pretty fast.
Oh, no.
You guys were done.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was young, broken, everything like everything. Like, so there's nothing that there was it was at the point where we didn't have the experience, you didn't have the anything. So, but it was the best opportunities. So it was like the biggest like learning experience. That was first like between 2008-9 to 2012, 2013 was one of the best kind of learning experience, because we could try and still
See
make
what
the market
works.
would help us, right?
Yeah.
Because the market was growing and growing.
In
so.
12 and 13, yeah.
Oh yeah, eight,
but when you
12.
went in at like 8 and 9, it was.
Oh,
but if you found the right niches, so I hear that if you went into foreclosure, like the ROEs or
REOs, yeah.
REOs,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, the REOs. If you went into those, then that was like somewhere crushing it,
100%.
right?
Yeah, and that's what.
But you just got to find your niche in, and I feel like that's important too with any type of real estate. Like once you find that community or the area that you like, to work in or that you do well in, or who takes to you. I'm starting to see in my loans, like after a couple of years now, that's because you got to be in it for a couple of years to see the data.
Sure.
So now I can see like who actually closes with me most, like veterans and married couples.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
So it's always the apex. You got to find the apex.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So once you find like, why do they, like they always close with me. So you start looking at that, and I feel like, do you do that in yours?
100%. Yeah, it's very easy.
Like reverse engineering.
100%. Yeah, that's like, so a lot of times you have to. The approach is always looking through the lens that you would otherwise not look at. So it's kind of looking through, like if it's an investor you're working with or a partner, where exactly that they're coming from, and try to make it. And that's
that's what I'm starting to do now more. I think of it like reverse engineering. Okay, but like, why did they choose me? Like, why do I fall in this area? Like, why do they, they see that trust, like it's kind of like this group. So now I've been almost, then it's like you can kind of build around that.
Yeah.
So
and like, especially like when in the finance and lending space, it's very hard to find those types of people because I mean, you got everyone can.
There's so much competition,
and everyone is so good, with their speech and their tongue, and everyone can but substance is very hard. The moment you have groups like investors that see see substance, they're like, I want to hold on to this person.
And I feel like that's something, because I'm very good at like walking them through and setting the expectation. So and I keep them together. So when it comes to like married couples, I've found that they do choose me because I don't let them be apart. I keep them together, and I stay available to them. I put them in a group text. No way. Like everybody stay in here. Like their married couples are not allowed to really talk to me unless they're together.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Okay.
Yes, because if I go tell one something and then now late at night they're relaying my message and it's not coming out the same.
Yeah, that's
now they just hear that it's going to cost like $17,000.
Yeah, it's insane. Like it's good. That's good.
So I keep them on the same page. But I'm starting to see that. It sounds like you have done a lot of that in your business, and
trial and error is the most. That's the biggest. That's the what is it like the biggest teacher? Right? Yeah, the biggest teacher you can.
You just have to go in there and start failing.
Yeah.
Just do it wrong, and then you'll learn how to do it right.
And there's always levels, right? You're going to be a freshman every single time whenever you level up. So it's like one of those things where when you buy your first property or get your first loan, you have to fail when you're trying to do 10, right? Or you have to fail when you're trying to expand or to scale. All these things are just you're just waiting to be a freshman all over again. Yeah. That's all you got to do.
But that's like that entrepreneur mindset of ours where we're like, can I just fail fast? Like, just give me, I'm just trying to get to the 6th level. Like, let me, and our minds are already like, look, I already know I'm successful, but how am I going to, like, how can I fail faster here and just keep going? Like, no, I'm just going to buy 3 properties and we're going to figure it out.
One of the like benefits and curses of like starting out young is you're naive enough to do that when you're younger.
Yes.
But
I love that.
You also learn a lot earlier. So by the time, you get
burned a lot too.
Yeah.
That's how I think of my 20s. I'm like, but now in my 30s, I got a tool belt. You know what I mean? Like now I got a tool belt where I can tell, like, I got those red flag lens on now. Like now I can pinpoint behavioral things.
And that's one of the most important.
But that's because I just went out running around.
Everyone thinks like this is like the industry that we're in, especially is a very like it's a distant kind of like convoluted type of industry. It's a people industry. You're dealing with people every day. Every like liars and cheaters and truthful people that work hard. All of those are literally
you have to
combined.
be able to identify it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's also a lot of people in real estate and successful in real estate. What I have found, they work on the mind a lot.
True.
and to really get them, you know, or like bring networking groups. They're constantly meeting new people. So it's not only like meeting people, it's like you're learning. You're learning people who are in this industry, and you have to pay attention because these are very big purchases. So you have to, like, your partners are important.
And it's something you learn like a little bit later on. You know, it's like you have to really like, as an individualistic kind of like a very like solitary type of learner. I always thought like, it's going to be like I'm the only one that can do it my way, and the moment I realize that you can expand your your depth of perception, you have to and like
teach
working with people.
Else.
Oh my gosh,
buy back your time.
That was the biggest game changer. Partnering like and stuff like that. That was been the biggest, I think, like the biggest like
it just
expansion
expanded
growth,
you.
Just because.
When was that in your career?
Way too late.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going through it now.
Holy shit, yeah.
And I'm like mid-30. I'm 35.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, all this time, I always thought that like to be a strong, independent woman, that I had to do it alone. And I'm like, that's where my mindset and perception were incorrect.
Yeah.
Growing up, you don't need to do them alone.
Yeah.
You just need to find the right partners.
Yeah.
And now I've been opening up, and it's huge.
Yeah,
like,
it's so big. It's a big, really thing. I was always very kind of like performance kind of driven, right? The partners that are the one on time. Really, at the end of the day, believe it or not, that type of relationship only lasts so long.
But you both are,
if at least one or both, if you guys are just strictly performance driven or very like data driven,
you need like one kind of relationship and one kind of data.
Yeah,
like I'm the relationship one.
100%.
So I need somebody more on the technical.
Yeah, that's
on the more the data. Like, just tell me what we need to hit.
Dude, I'm telling you,
I'm gonna send me out there like a little mouse. At these little events.
Dude,
I could approach people, but.
When it
comes to but also the other aspect, like I need the proper scale.
For sure. Have you worked with partners before?
Which one?
Like, have you worked with partners before? Like, have you like?
So now, like, our brokerage, we're all separate, but we've been like teaming up still, and then now I have realtor partners that I'm actually working with more closely.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So like really kind of starting to partner and do more webinars and things like that. And then I'm also partnering now. Like now there's a big project in Missouri that I'm going to be raising capital, and then I'm going to be finding the investors.
Love it. Awesome.
So like a little different, different types, because I feel like I'm in my stages of where do I want to be.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been focusing a lot in the just real estate game altogether.
Love it.
Like loans is first, but
diversify. It's the best thing. I mean,
that's all of it.
As long as you're not.
Put me in, coach. I'm ready.
Love it.
And then Ahmad, so let's go over. So you do fix and flips, fix and holds, and development.
Yeah. So we talked about diversification, right? So we tried to about 33% of kind of what our main like resources and what we try to focus on is right now between I say from 2017 until 2022 as soon as like the fix and flip market got as saturated as it did, our main focus, and I made a lot of mistakes a lot earlier on where I had a lot of like rental properties that I sold off that I shouldn't have. So that kind of regret set in when
But now you can identify them, right?
Yeah. So kind of we shifted focus into like having a much more of a buy and hold portfolio, like portfolios that we can hold on to, and a lot of those happen throughout the Midwest and other states out of state. But so we do both like fix and flips development, a lot less now, but once the market shifts to a point, obviously that's going to shift in that direction also. So and then 33% is for our development projects. So any kind of those are the fun projects. Like that's going to take a lot longer to do, but it's going to take a lot more effort. But thankfully, like you have the safety net of your portfolio, on the rental properties, and then you have enough of you can take a medium term kind of revenue stream from on your fix and flips and everything in between.
Yeah. So you use the fix and flips to kind of get that like cash in bulk like throughout the year, and then,
So I like
and then the holds for like cash flow.
So yeah, my brain works it like I break it down in like threes, right?
Tell us how
yeah,
it works.
so it's like it's in like three stage format. So it's either short, medium, and long term kind of processes, right? So obviously on the shorter term side, you'll have your, let's say your fix and flips or your rental properties are going to obviously bring in revenue every single month, right?
Yep.
So establishing our rental properties every month, a safety net. You're going to have, some kind of a safety net regardless of what happens. Yeah. Your fix and flip type of residential properties, right? So like 1 to 4 or maybe 10 to 20 units properties are going to be anywhere between, let's say, 4 to 8 months. Yep. In essence, right? So a little bit, it's not, you can do 3-4 of those a year if you're doing it singularly, right? And then on the bigger, like on the development side of things, those are 12 to 18 months. You can expect, right? So those kinds of obviously the returns are much higher the longer you get, but that's the more But
if you keep them a little small, medium, large every year, and it's like you're always building. Like, what a great method!
And it's just and on top of that, we also, we're obviously not in like have all the resources in the world, right? So we also on the side we also wholesale. We get anywhere between 25 to like 35 properties a month, like just like on acquisition side. Yeah. So we don't always have all the resources to allocate to do a particular project, but if another investor even locally can do that, so we even do wholesaling on the side, and that keeps the lights on, pays for the bills, makes it a lot easier. So
like, let's go, and then just keeps that money ready for the development. Yeah. So for the development, so what are you working on now, or have you done multiple of these? I think you mentioned like 72 units.
72, in Cleveland currently.
That one's in Cleveland.
In Cleveland, in the great Cleveland. So I've started our first development project. We did 13 condos in Riverside County.
Okay.
So down in the
Empire. Awesome.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. It was like we got I was younger, much younger than it was a perfect experience, and was able to be in every single stages from subdivisions and like being able to work with like the utilities and etc. So it was amazing. So I don't know how many projects later because of our relationships with both like the local, like the cities and the counties, city councils and so forth, they were so gracious to help us out. And we have two streets part of parcels that were actually essentially as currently single family that we're redeveloping into a townhome style. Wow. 72 units. So it'll be hopefully we got the first 2 developers that had the first 2 streets have already started breaking ground. So hopefully we should be breaking ground by maybe summer of next year. We should be ready.
That's so exciting. Do you hold those?
I'm planning. So the city, one of the conditions was they do want
a piece of it,
an increase in home ownership. Oh. So they would prefer homeowners to come in and purchase particular townhomes or condo styles.
Like separate,
yeah. So like we'll be developing and then we'll be selling it off.
Okay, and selling. Okay,
selling it to retail. Like so, it's in the area.
So like if I had buyers, like would you?
Oh yeah, so
so just whoever, like
retail
you guys
buyers
are basically going to put them on the market.
Yeah, they'll be on the market, and primarily because of its proximity to.
Or don't put them on the market and then just send them to me.
Yeah, sure. What do you got to lose? Yeah, no, 100%.
Let's just get them filled before they even hit the market. Yeah.
So
especially in Riverside.
Well, that was years and years ago. This one's in Cleveland. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's good. It's good proximity to the Cleveland Clinic, and you're gonna have doctors, you're gonna have nurses, and so much
and Cleveland's been like crushing it.
Yeah,
I have a lot of California investors that go out there.
I remember in 2016 when I first started investing in Cleveland, I had so many of my commercial like investors. They're friends of mine, obviously, and they would give me so much shit about
now. How many houses do they have out there?
They're begging me now. They're begging, and it's funny because back then nobody was thinking like negative population growth and this and that. And I'm like, all right, it was insane. So like now, it's awesome. The city's getting redeveloped. The entire Midwest, that was forgotten for so long, is being redeveloped now. So
what did you see that they didn't?
But ironically enough, it was I took a shot in the dark for shits and giggles. Yeah. So it was right at the time when I just left, kind of the first company I started with and working with, and out on my own, and we were doing properties. I had a property up in by like San Leandro, in up north in by San Francisco, and it was $640,000 like property, 700 square feet. I mean, I think literally like this room is bigger than the house was. It was insane, but it was insane. And we're doing the numbers, and at the time, I brought in a partner who's going to help me do the marketing, and he was born and bred in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah. And if you know anything about like anyone that was born and bred in any like major state in the Midwest, they're through and through like Cleveland all day. So every day.
But they don't want to live there.
Oh yeah. So again, we happened to run into at Promontory, so where I was living. So we literally ran into each other at Promontory, and I told him, hey, you know what? Fuck, it's like I need someone that I obviously can't do this on my own. I need someone that can maybe help me out, and so I made them proposition. And every single day that we were talking about all of our projects in California, it was Cleveland this, Cleveland that, Cleveland, like, and it wouldn't go, like, it wouldn't disappear. And finally I was like, fuck it. I was like, sure, let's find something. So I was like, I'm gonna put you in charge of just find me something that works. So we found this little like single family. It was like 98,000, like a flip in northwest Akron. And I was like, all right, shit, why not? Let's give it a shot. And the fast forward like 5 months later, made every mistake you can possibly make when you're flipping into a new, did not have a contractor, didn't have any, made every mistake. On top of that, the literal return, the percentage return on that single family like little shack in Ohio shadowed like 10 times over what we were making dollar for dollar on our Oakland property, or San Leandro property in California. And for a fraction of the price, that was a $460,000 property. This was a $100,000 property, and it was just you couldn't compare. And after that, I was like, hold on,
just buy it.
I was like, wait a minute. That was the moment. I was like, all right, now we're gonna let's focus all.
Do you still have that one?
Oh, it was a flip. We flipped. Yeah, we flipped it for like $240,000 or something.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
From 98.
Purchased 98. Our original like rehab estimates were supposed to be like around 50. Ended up being like 59, 60. Yeah. Even on top of that, it was like a great, and I was like, oh my God, this is the first property. Yeah. And we're not even like, again.
I just love that. And in an entrepreneur's eyes, that's just.
So that's.
like, that really and now you're like, just buy 50 of them.
Oh, and at that point, and like we still had investors that were going crazy buying California properties, and I'm spoiled, right? So I had properties in California when like they're in 2008, 9, and 10. Yeah. So we could buy a property in Riverside for $70,000, $80,000, $90,000. Yeah. And make a quick flip. That was what I was used to. So when that disappeared in like 14, 15, where everybody became like an investor at that, like all the TV shows, like anyone that wanted to, like that's when it caught on, and it didn't make sense. So I was like, the hell with this. Yeah. There's
get out of here.
There was 3 investors maybe in the entirety like of all of like Ohio.
Yeah. Now there's a lot more, but ultimately I hear good things like Cleveland, Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's pretty good. Columbus
those ones,
and all the
Columbus. I knew the C's, and then those ones have been pretty popular. Or like, do you have holds there now?
Oh yeah. Okay. So
do those you use for cash flow? So I feel like I hear this quite a bit. So we'll kind of talk right now about like that market and like California market. Yeah. But do you kind of use that strategy of getting cash flow in Ohio while in California you still purchase? Just like, do you have any property here that you might be losing on, but you know that you're gaining more appreciation? Currently, like, do you use that strategy?
Yeah, so currently, I think maybe I would say maybe a 20%, maybe less, maybe even only 10% of our resources or our portfolio is focused in California. So right now we only have 2 active California properties, which it makes perfect sense, right? If you at the end of the day think about it, right? California is ahead of the curve across, ahead of the nation as far as what the real estate, like the trends are, the market.
Yeah.
So it's always the first to get hit, the hardest to get hit, and the first to recover, and the hardest to increase, right?
Yep.
Now, coming from the previous generation of like California investors, was there when the bottom was there. So like you can see like the steady incline, and then kind of learning from past real estate trends, right? And the same exact thing. So that's the reason why majority of our portfolios left outside.
There,
yeah. But the ones that we still have here are strictly are just short term. So like if they're not any kind of a tear down or like a value add development project, or like a very, very short term quick fix and flip, then we wouldn't jump into it. So don't hold on to, well, at least we don't have anything that we're holding on to here in Southern California.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that main reason, like, is that because of the market right now, or?
Yeah, it's a combination of a few things, right? So you'd want to, at the end of the day, you want the highest and best value for your time, energy, and cost benefit analysis, right? So it's like you want to, if on the same, we talked about diversification as well. On the same token, right? The percentages, your cap rates that you're getting, in appreciation at this point in time, right? Or even when it was back then, you can have a duplex for $1 million, right?
Yeah.
And you know this better than I do, right?
Yeah.
What is your mortgage on $1 million?
Roughly.
So you're getting there, right?
On $1 million, you're probably looking at they just kind of went down. I would say in between $4,500 to $6,000 between, roughly, depending on what their credit is.
And it's crazy, right?
It's going down.
Like it's assumed. I believe 100% it's going to get even better. But that being said, right now on that particular same token, you have the same kind of that particular. Let's assume it's a duplex. I don't know if you can find any duplex for $1 million anywhere in LA and Orange County, whatever. But assume that's the case, right? It's a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. What are you renting out those particular properties? $6,000 a month between the two.
Yeah, you can't.
Between the two, so that cash flow for that particular property, percentage dollar for dollar, is not as
doesn't add up.
Instead of, let me give you a fun example. So we have a duplex in Ohio, right?
Okay.
In South Euclid, Ohio. So we purchased at 73. We put about $40,000 in rehab, refinanced. Appraisal came back at 195, 200-ish. We refinanced out. Loan is what, 150. Each unit is renting out for $1,200 a month. Our mortgage is $970.
Oh my God, love that.
So like dollar for dollar, right? And
so that's sweet, yeah.
And it's so that kind of diversification on top of where like that kind of cash flow is the reason why you'd want. You want to be as secure as possible, obviously, but the appreciation is. It's crazy. You have these particular markets where they have not been developed for 30 years.
I know they're so expensive.
Yeah, dude, and it's insane. Now
it's
just
tough. Yeah.
Jumping.
Well, and it's tough too because that's where a lot of our just even regular clients that want to buy their home, now they're running into this issue to where it's like, look, we don't mind a fixer-upper. You used to pay hundreds of thousands less, and then you would think of it like a fixer-upper. You might get a rehab loan or something, but you would put money into fixing it. But now it's like these a lot of them are fixer-uppers, but they're 1.1 million.
Oh, yeah.
And you still have to you can't. Some people, sure, there's people out there that can't afford it, but it's also a lot to think okay, we might have a $5,000 mortgage plus. When is that bathroom going to get remodeled?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Do the kids eat or do we remodel
100%. And it's a matter of time. Yeah. It's not it's only, don't get me wrong. Southern California is in my blood. In my blood. I would love to be investing here. It's where I started, right? Yeah. So it's just a matter of riding the wave, right? So you have to ride the wave to a point where when the market does, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen for everyone, in their families and stuff. But when the market does take, goes in a different direction, as an investor, you're sitting on the sideline waiting for when that happens, so then you can capitalize on that, right? Yeah. And then until that happens, you're kind of just waiting to the wayside and making sure that
Yeah, but I feel like you guys have still. I get my other clients to look, investors are still investing for a reason. 100%. Because it's always, real estate. Yeah. But even you have that knowledge. That's the thing. They just don't have that to diversify. Like they don't have that knowledge of or experience to like while they're waiting, hey, let's focus on like a cash flow property. Sure. Like, you know, you guys know, okay, it's this season, so now we're gonna go hard on our wholesales. Like now we're gonna go hard on our fix and flips. Sure. So I feel like that's the difference of, you know, from the investors just having that knowledge that's like make it seasonal.
And a lot of these guys were just, they can accept a lower return. Yeah. They're totally cool with it. They're like,
well,
you know
if you have the money, but like, sure, if you can just bleed money, dude. We all can't do that. Okay. Like exactly. I would need, you know, some type of, I'm even in the position now of like, I'm looking to get my first investment, but I'm going to go out of state because honestly, I'd rather invest out of state and not really focus on getting a primary out here because I live less than, like my rent is really low. Oh, yeah. And I live less than a mile from the beach. Oh, yeah. I have like master, like I'm in a really good spot. So I was like, let's stay here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And then just put it all into, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, when in the age we're at, I mean, I'm renting. From the time I came out, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. You know, I've rented
as long as you're still building equity, like as long as you kind of have a plan. Like for me personally, I'm single, I'm this, like I don't want to go get a primary or a condo out here and live in it. And then the only way that I would be able to make money that way, I would have to rent out all the rooms. But then also I'd have to find people that actually live with me. I don't party anymore or do anything. Like I really wouldn't.
You run 35 miles with you. That's fine.
How you gotta do that? I run a lot. So it seems like not the right time. I'd rather wait until I have another, you know, a significant other with me and then we both. Yeah, because I'd rather just like keep doing what I'm doing. Like for me, renting makes sense, but I'm also not paying like $35,000 to $4,000 in rent. Yeah. If I was, then I would be focusing on getting in, you know, building that equity, but mine's very low.
That's the weird thing about like, I guess the detachment with when you're as an investor, there's a point you kind of have to be detached to make a logical, like objective decision. So investing at the end of the day is basically like making sure that you think, all due respect, everyone from in the Midwest, I hate the snow. Yeah. I hate anything that the Midwest like everything. At the end of but on the same token, I love it because obviously it's helped. It's making you money. It's built so much, but at the same time, I would never live there, right? So invest to where you don't necessarily have to live. Yeah. But you don't have to invest.
That's pretty much everybody out here, or everyone that goes to your events too. I'll put all the info below, but everybody lives out here in California, Newport, like LA, but then they're all investing in, you know, where there's cash flow. So like, I mean, because somebody just did this. It's like basically when you say like, if you like, yes, it's expensive out here. And like some people are like, oh, well, you can go buy something for like 100,000 or like 200,000 in Indiana, but it's like, but then you live in Indiana. It's like you really spoiled, like yes, if it makes the most sense for your family, and first of all, you always have to do what makes the most sense for like you and your family. You know, like whatever makes the most sense for you guys, like. You know, everything's a numbers game. Whatever's gonna put you in the best scenario. Yeah, but like, but then like, you know, you have to live there. So it's like, great. Now you're sitting on all this equity. Sure. Like, if I was gonna go, like, live somewhere else, but then like travel for a year and like build equity and like rent it out, like
if you're 22 years old, you don't have anything else. Sure, why not?
No, I'm definitely not 22 anymore, but I'm probably gonna go Airbnb style in Austin.
Awesome, Austin's a hot market. I know. Absolutely crazy.
I'm already licensed over there too, so
that's amazing. Dude,
I might even, we talked about like doing a brokerage out there too. That's awesome. We'll see. I might be half and half.
No way.
Yeah. And then, okay, so let's kind of wrap up here, Ahmad. Looking forward, so like the end of this year, what is, the rates are looking to come down. Like what, first one, like, what is your main focus going to be kind of like wrapping up this year and maybe starting out the new year? And then also, what is your advice to newer investors that want to hop in the market?
For sure. I mean, for us, our plans realistically to finish as many, or to get closer to as many refinances for all of our projects, for all the multifamily projects we have going on, to capitalize that
get that payment,
get that rate regard. And it's gotten so creative now. It's amazing, and with the rates the way they are. So to finish up before the snow hits, or before by that time, wrapping up as much as we have, and then solidifying like all of the loose ends that we have in all of our other markets, Charlotte or in Tennessee or whatever. Getting our refinance, and then making sure we hold on to them, and then the same properties that we had refinanced, I don't know, a year or two ago at 25,000%. Getting them back into
even the DSCRs right now are already getting back into the sixes. Like, that's good.
That's amazing, man.
That's like conventional pricing right there.
So
like even the conventional is not quite into the fives yet. But like FHA and VA, if you want to buy down, I mean,
and if you're a perfect, no one's a perfect candidate like that you're going to get exact.
But even 5.5 is still, we're hoping, conventionals are like, I'm working on a refinance right now for a conventional that they're in, I think, over 7. But they've kind of held out because they want that real, real oomph. But I just, I texted them yesterday, like, hey, man, it's at 5.625. Like, let's go. And that's a conventional.
You can't.
That's like hundreds of dollars. Like, that's like on $1 million home out here, like in Orange County. It's
pretty crazy.
So to go from a 7 to a 5.6, like, let's not wait. Let's get you in there now.
Because once this better than everybody, the end of the year happens, everybody shuts down. No one's going to want to work. So might as well get
I always tell people to shop at this time.
Oh,
Get out there and get some seller credits. When everyone's shopping, or when everyone's inside, you go shopping.
100%. Exactly.
Like, I've been trying to tell them.
It's the last quarter,
a real thing.
The best acquisitions for us.
Well, they say, because at the end of the year, a lot of people, they have family, and a lot of people aren't going to be listing. The people that are listing, it's because they need a solution. Like, they're in a jam, or they need to sell, so that's why they're doing it. So ultimately, that's why it's a little more of a buyer's market.
100%, man. It's amazing. It's the best buying period.
Do you have more negotiations at that time? Like,
I love negotiating in the wintertime. It's the best. It's amazing.
Like, what? Do you want it to sit for 45 days?
It is
Do you just go at them hard? I feel like you will be able to rebuttal like anything. Like,
try to be fair. No, you try to be fair as possible.
I feel like you could spit out.
It's not true.
Out something. For every what is that called? Like every. No, I'm not. It's not like that. I can't think of the word right now, but
no. It's we try to be. Obviously, there's you don't want to take advantage of situations and things like that. But ultimately, because primarily we deal on acquisitions, we deal with a lot of distressed properties. So we deal with a lot of banks, and we deal with REOs and short sales and et cetera. Right. So you're dealing with asset managers now that want to give everything off their books before the 31st, and so they're just, you can, it's so easy to negotiate at that time, because no one else, competition is low. You don't have no competition.
That's what I'm trying to tell them. They're not listening.
No.
Like, get out there. And then Ahmad, your advice to new investors.
Man, if I had, it'd be probably two very small. I find someone, regardless, right or wrong, to hold on to, and to anyone that's experienced in the business. And if you got to just attach it, work for X amount of time, or just absorb. But I think more importantly, and believe it or not, in this day and age, the second is so much more important. There's literally 5 main pillars in real estate investment. If you're doing syndications or a flip or whatever particular project, if you have 2 or 3 of these something, those values are something you can add to bring to the table, you can change everything. If you have the capital, or you have the credit, if you have the sponsor, or in this case, if you have someone who has the experience, someone who is on the ground, the boots on the ground, and the sweat equity, if you have any of those, if you have 3 or 4, 2 of the 3, you don't have to have the money, you don't have to have the credit. But if you're gonna bust your balls and you have the experience, for example, or you're gonna, you have the credit, or any 2 or 3, if you don't, the remainder, find someone else to work with and partner. Half of every single, when I started investing, was I found the investor that had the money, and I was able to provide the asset, and because of that value, we were able to do, and then started from there, and vice versa. I have so many credit investors where they literally, on our refis, they are co-guaranteeing on the refi, and they get a percentage of the particular, and they've done, literally, that's their one role.
Thing,
and it's
that's
so
amazing. That's great advice.
Well,
Ahmad, thank you so much for coming in
and joining us,
and
awesome.
Just giving us all that great insight. And seriously, if you're looking for a real estate investor networking group in Newport, I'm going to post it below. I do attend this. It's once a month. It's the last Thursday of every month.
Thursday,
so that one has been great. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment below, and I will leave all of Ahmad's information. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thanks, love.
Thanks.
You're awesome.